excited when I saw some of your pre-class comments on the assignment. You shared some lovely stories with me about your experience, and that made me feel closer to whoever is here in this room now, because I was able to get the feeling of what you do inside your classrooms. Some of you already do lots of storytelling, so you can share your ideas here. You had lots of good things to say, and I know that most people were confused about the riddle. Okay, so I will reveal the answer to the riddle soon. And some people, I think Catherine and Deborah, were very close to the answer. Now, if you have not seen the pre-class assignment yet, I just wrote a riddle that is also on the PowerPoint, so we can try it again, okay? Okay, so, right, this first slide is introducing that we're going to really focus on thinking about stories, thinking about our students, and thinking about what happens behind the scenes. So I'm not going to show you exactly lesson plans, but the PowerPoint has a lot of links, and we can do all of that in the post-class course feeds, okay? So if you look at this first slide, the main ideas here are, okay, neurons, because we've got to talk about what's happening in here, because our students' minds are the places where we want to go, okay? For me, social and emotional aspects of the learning process are extremely important, and we will explore that. And I've put some keywords here that I think are an integral part of storytelling or any kind of creative activity. So it's something that enhances your memory, helps your fluency to flow, builds up your thinking skills, to think about what you're doing as a student, how to make your own things, express yourself, not just read from a book, not just do the exercises, that your mind is your learning tool. You learn how to use your mind, and then your language will flow. So it's about mindful integration, how we use the skills from all parts of our brain. We use our logic and we use our imagination, and we make them work together. And that's what we call whole brain engagement. Okay? Now, when you watch this PowerPoint later, there's also a soundtrack of music to give it a kind of a spacey or spooky feel. Anyway, we go ahead quickly. Oh, am I speaking slowly enough? Can you all hear me clearly? Okay. All right. Great. Now, this is the riddle. I will read it again slowly. Okay. I am the ultimate teaching tool. You rarely hear my name in school. I look like a kite and take to flights of fancy. I've got an eye in the middle. To ignore me would be chancy. I've got many arms that look like branches and little tiny tips like finger traces. Just like a kite, I've got a long tail. It's dressed in to help my messages sail. My tail kind of flails at the end, just so. That's the secret of my influence. What am I? Do you know? Okay. Okay, lots of people said brain and brainstorming, and Thomas got the exact answer. It's a neuron. Okay, so this is our neuron today. This neuron will take us through some things that are very important for us. Okay, thank you, Thomas, and thanks to everybody else who got really close, because brainstorming and the brain and all of those things are completely connected. Now, it says here, I may seem insignificant, but you don't know my connections. Can you tell me in the chat box why I wrote this? Yeah, synapses, good. So, one tiny little neuron is one tiny little brain cell, which alone is very, very insignificant. It cannot work alone. It can only work through connections. And today, I'm looking at learning like that. I'm looking at how we can connect with our students and how we can light up their minds. So we can do that in creative ways, artistic ways, personal ways, emotional ways, social ways, but it's also good to look a little bit at the psychology or even a little bit of science behind it. Okay, so we'll see what else we have to learn from our neuron. Okay, poetic metacognition of a neuron. Now, this means really that we want to think about how we think, we want to think about how we learn, and think about how we connect. Okay? And I just put a little riddle for some fun, and then it occurred to me it's like thinking about our mind or our thoughts in a poetic way. And that's really what all of this is about for me, bringing the arts into what we want to learn. Okay? Now, some of you read my blog earlier where I interviewed Fitch O'Connell, who is a leader in English language teaching when it comes to storytelling. And I got wonderful responses to that interview. And what Fitch had to say was really, really, really rich. He was talking about stories and his experience, but everything he said was kind of like poetic metacognition, thinking about how things happen. And so many people responded to that. So with everything I also learned from Fitch, I'm continuing here. Now, these lists are to explain the poem or the rhyme or the riddle, okay, the arms and branches, so that's kind of like a mind map or a tree, and we are familiar with that analogy. I put in the scientific words just to make it clear. So the eye is really the nucleus, okay? Now the tail, so in my rhyme I said I look like a kite and I have a tail because it's in that kind of a shape. The axon is the tail which carries our messages, and hopefully those messages are messages of fun and excitement. That was something else that Fitch O'Connell wrote in the article that you can also read later. He said what guides him with his students or with his stories is to feel the surprise and to feel your mind lighting up, to feel your heart skip a beat. So if we can make our students' hearts skip a beat, then these messages and lights will fly down the axon to the synapses to light up the whole mind. Now this green part, in my poem I said I wear clothes. The clothing is called the Schwann cells because it's a coat that protects the messages that are flying. Okay? And flailing at the end, flailing is kind of flying, and this is a very exciting place to be if you have great input, because here's where the synapses big party. Okay, now I'll skip to the party. I think it's the next slide. No. This is the party. Okay? So, this is me at a brainstorming party. So that's our neuron in there. It says, can you find me in the crowd? Yeah, I know. We all look the same to you. Now, this is something that people often say to each other when we are stuck in our own cultures and we see people from different cultures and we say, oh, they all look the same. We say that if we are not culturally aware. But in this case, they really do look the same. And that's because the sum is greater than the parts. Okay? So that's what we are here to do as teachers. We're here to help our students' brains all work together, because even though it's natural, it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes we're stuck too much in logic, stuck too much in fear. We cannot speak, we cannot remember, we cannot think. So we have to help the brain to work in a very happy, fun way to be at its best potential. Okay? Now, I'll skip back quickly to before. Okay, this was a little cartoon or comic sketch I made of the neuron having a party, because at last it's all lit up. So when you reach your students with a story, a poem, a joke, a song, whatever, this is what we want to see inside their heads. We want them to have parties in their minds. So, in the learning context, what might have triggered the action potential? The action potential is when you get the inspiration. And when the neuron gets the inspiration, your mind starts to light up and learn and get ideas. So, how will this light up the whole mind and create an optimal learning state? Okay, have you got ideas? How do you do this? How do you try to inspire your students? Yes, it's easier. Great. Sparks. Yeah. What else? What works for you? Stories, songs, jokes? And how do you raise their attention? Okay. Games and films. So everything I'm going to say today is almost a summary or a background or backdrop of all of the amazing ideas we've had from our other presenters. So this is inclusive of all of your best ideas and all best practice, as long as we have fun. Okay, these are the links about neurons. I'll post them on Facebook later. Now, I just wanted to create a picture where we can really visualize what happens or does not happen in the classroom. And there's a mixed message. So a dearth of creativity, this means a lack of something that we need. So it's neglect, sadness, and kind of a death of things, okay? And this is what the brain, I think, would look like, and I searched this and found it. If children, maybe if they get stuck in their learning, maybe if they get sad or depressed, maybe if they have no confidence, or maybe if they cannot relate to how things happen in class, they may feel like this all over, but in their brains they really might be like this. And of course the orange, bright, creative light, this is what we want. And we want to be all connected. So I'm really reminding you of stuff we already know, but by looking at it like this, we are thinking about what we know. We are thinking about our behavior, our feelings, our reaction, levels of rapport, levels of connection. Okay, so I kind of have this neuron set up as a comic character and a person. So it says here, neurons and people are more alike than you think. In fact, neurons are so like humans that they create the human experience. So we never really talk about neurons except from, I'm just very eccentric and strange, but except for scientists, but they create our experience, they create our learning experience, yet we don't look at them, they're invisible, we don't look at them, we don't think about them. But like it said in the riddle I put before, I'm the ultimate teaching tool, but you rarely hear my name in school. So even the best teachers in the world, with the best music, stories, everything, they do it naturally and they don't always talk about the word neuron. So if you're doing everything right, you don't have to talk about the word neuron. But I was just looking at the psychological side today. You know, it is a good idea for students to become aware of their own learning styles and their own minds, because I've been reading 2 books lately by Daniel J. Siegel. This one here is, The Whole Brain Child. I'll put a link later. It's all about how we teach children to understand their own minds, and that's the whole reason why I put together the presentation like this. So, just as people don't like to stand alone at parties, neurons are no good alone either. So we need each other to grow, and when we grow, you grow. How? By having fun through interactivity. Everybody here knows that. So we'll just look a bit more on the psychological side. So here, if eyes are the windows of the soul, mirror neurons are the windows of social and emotional awareness. Okay, does anybody know what mirror neurons are? Okay, well, this is a kind of a recent discovery, and teachers don't very often get involved with that kind of stuff. But I think as teachers, we all like to specialize in certain interests. I like to read psychology, not just because I'm a teacher, but because I like to read about child development. Like the book I showed you a moment ago tells us about mirror neurons, and some other books I have. Basically, it's something you already know, that we can feel empathy for other people. Some people are better at feeling empathy, some people are better at understanding other people. Some people are like stone walls and they cannot get across into somebody else's psychological feelings. Some people are not able to connect. And mirror neurons are the scientific discovery that it's a physical fact that these types of neurons are what help us to understand each other, to walk in each other's shoes, to feel empathy. And empathy is a huge factor in teaching, and it's a huge factor in storytelling, which is one of the main reasons why I think storytelling is very important. So we know about our mirror neurons, we know we want to connect, we know we want to build up rapport, but how do we do it? Maybe some of us do it naturally, maybe we are more instinctive, but maybe not with all students, because all students have different learning styles. Maybe we just want to do more, we want to do it better. So we've got to think about how we connect. Okay, so these 2 pictures are just showing the idea of the influence on the vibes, the mirror neurons, lighting up inspiration, and then the children's pictures are to show that we've got to give them fun, and it's usually through the arts, because it's usually music, stories, drama, theatre, acting, and art, and all of those things are stories. They're stories in different types of media. Yes, social attraction. Oh my God, Doug. Okay. Now, sorry, I'm not saying much in the chat box today, because actually I made a huge PowerPoint, and I don't want anyone to get bored either. Okay, now, how do we connect? This is my answer, right? But my answer includes everybody's answer, because life is a story. We are all stories. How we live is our own story. Music, rap, movies, idioms, the colour of language, everything is this. And it goes back to our ancient, okay? And I put here what this is that we are thinking again about thinking. Here's a link to a lesson plan where students learn how to do this. And okay, we can start by being mindful of how stories can engage the whole brain, heart and soul. So for me, I think it's all about heart and soul, and we have seen this with every class in the MOOC so far, every assignment, every comment, everything we have all done together, we have seen it's all about heart and soul. Irina, have you got a question? Oh, that's something to teach because they have to. Yeah, I think any teacher can get stuck in that rut, and it could happen if you have a busy life, if you don't have resources, if your school doesn't pay you enough. I think it can happen to any of us, but I think all of us can get inspired again by doing what we're doing now, by sharing our ideas and not hiding our ideas, just give our ideas to the whole world and help each other like that. And that's why I think social media is a blessing for all of us to keep in touch, whether it's on the MOOC or just in the group. Larry, tell me what students won't like. I'm reading the thread again just to keep in touch with what you're doing. Yeah, so I'm trying to go back to... Yes, I don't have to talk about neurons. I'm just looking at it from a psychological point of view today. This isn't a lesson plan for children. It's for us. Okay, so let me see. If I got no questions, I'll go ahead. Okay, anyway, here's a little background about stories. As civilizations grew, so did the iconic nature of storytelling. Our walls are just more likely to be on Facebook than deep inside caves. As we make our way through the digital transformation, a return to visualization is occurring that adheres to the storyteller's craft of appealing to our tribal sensibilities. Okay, so this is all about the modern world of multimedia, and now we can bring our stories to presentations and videos and any kind of multimedia that we want. Okay, and this is to give us a bigger picture of what storytelling is, and Walt Disney is my inspiration for everything. Okay, now this is actually a huge map, and I can give you a link later, and it's too small to see the details. I just wanted to give a bird's eye view of the potential of stories and inspiration and sharing. Okay, so two huge components that we need to think about with storytelling are imagination and association. So, for example, I could give you a list of lesson plan ideas today or story games, okay, but I think I want to talk about how you can get your students to write their own stories and how you can create your own lesson plans that have very important key elements. Okay, so if we want to help our students' memories and if we want to help their creativity, we need to include two things, imagination and association. So imagination gets their interest going and all their ideas flowing, and association locks the ideas onto actual language learning situations where we want them to remember something. Okay, so I've put imagination and association onto mind maps to show you the bigger picture of everything we do with stories, with music, and with everything else. So, when you want to imagine, it's very good to exaggerate, because if you exaggerate something in your mind and make it very funny, very big, very colourful, or ridiculous, you are going to remember it. You are more likely to remember it. And you imagine how it feels, how it looks, everything about it, okay? If it's funny, of course, it's easier to remember. And not just remember in your mind, your whole body will just click on to that memory. Okay? It can be something obviously funny like jokes, or it just can be the fun of engagement, which can be drama, miming games, or sing-songs. Or total physical response, which is where we can get them to dance or to move or do anything physical. Now, these are branches that I have associated with laughter. Of course, this is endless, and many more branches and many more ideas could come from everybody here. The idea is you find what's fun and what your students find fun, and laughter will be a very big part of the imaginary process. Okay, rhythm. Rhythm is something we've seen a lot about in this MOOC, and of course, Jason is a star here and he has his own branch on the rhythm scale. Poetry is also very good, and I think that poetry and Jason's solo tunes are connected, because the way he writes his raps are very poetic also. And he usually includes some lessons in life in those rap songs, so they are social and emotional learning tools as well. Okay, mood and music, so all of that, as you know, ignites the imagination, lights up your whole feelings, makes you want to move, makes you want to dance. Okay, now positive thinking is something important for students, because students with no confidence cannot connect. They will not use their imaginations because they don't trust their own ideas. I mean, I know that I have done this, and probably every person has done this sometime in their life, that they have had ideas, but they were afraid of their own ideas and just threw them in the bin and never looked at them again, because we're afraid to share our ideas, afraid of what people might think. And that's the last thing we would ever want our students to think or believe, and it's our job to let them trust in their own imaginations and to take risks. So we've got to build up their confidence, their attitude, morals, and meaning in life, and stories are so perfect for that, okay? And in all of our cultural traditions, we have our own stories, we have our own fairy tales, we have our own religious stories also. Whatever your religion is, usually the ideas are passed on from generation to generation through stories and parables. So that's just one example. It doesn't have to be like that, but any kind of stories that teach a moral to help someone to feel good in growing up or in learning is brilliant for feelings, for imagination and creativity. Okay, now let's see. For imagination, we need to use lots of colours too. So I usually use a lot of colours in my writing or in my presentations or my blogs. It's very important. And we need to include all of the senses. Would anybody like to add something else to the map? If you have any more ideas, you can write them here before I move ahead. Anybody? Okay, I'll move this anyway, and if you come up with anything, I know some of you are typing now. Okay, so here's a brief summary again. The story of fluency. The act of storytelling enhances fluency development by harnessing the powers of the imagination and association. A good story, in turn, is made great by clever use of imagination and association, thereby creating fun, inspiring, artistic, memorable learning experiences. Now, this is something all of us can experiment with. It doesn't mean we have to be famous actors or genius video makers. We're just ordinary teachers, but we can experiment and take risks and see what happens, and trust in our students' ability to take their own risks. Okay, here's another mind map about association. Okay, this is about memory. How are they going to lock everything into their memories? So we've got to try and link the old with the new. So it's not just about playing with paints and being imaginative. We also need our logical side for the whole brain perfection. Okay, so as teachers we can plan very carefully what new language we're going to introduce, how it will link to what they already know, and then bring out the stories in our students. And also, we can use storytelling as a way to find what their old knowledge is. So if we ask our students a lot of leading questions and ask them to talk about their personal experiences, they will share their stories with us. So as well as speaking, expressing and sharing their stories, we are mindfully locking on to all that information that they've got. And then we can create our new materials based on everything that they share with us. Now, that's one reason why course books will never be as dynamic as we are, and will never be as dynamic as students are, and will never be as dynamic as the most important teaching tool, which is the mind. And we're reaching our students' minds. The book is one little tool. It's just one tool. And the book is print. Behind me on my shelves, I've got books that cost a lot of money over the years, and they're all out of print. And I still have them there because I take stuff out and create new things from the black and white or two-dimensional sheets of paper, because their power is gone. The only power those books have now is what I get from them and what I create, again, regenerating. So, there's a lot to say about this. Now, triggering. We have to think and read, experiment, and learn about what triggers the memory. Okay, what helps students to remember? Now, we said that imagination, colour, and lots of things help, and we all know about different learning styles and different techniques, so multi-sensory approaches are extremely important. Okay. Oh, thank you, Safa. Okay, I'll try. Yeah, I think the IQ matrix is where I found the Walt Disney mind map, and it's enormous. So when you have the link, you will be able to scroll around the whole thing. Okay. Now, did someone say we don't need to read? Well, I think Neves might have said something. So I'm a bookworm and I love books, and I'm going to keep my books forever. But I think in the new age we'll be reading from iPads or other things, and maybe not from printed books so much, you know. But definitely storytelling has to exist on print, and reading is one of the greatest joys in life, I think. Now, we can use symbols. I use symbols a lot in content I create. Okay, like this reminds me of associations because everything is linked together. Okay, symbols can speak to all of us in a multicultural kind of way. All cultures use symbols or ideas related to color or superstitions, lots of things. Okay, now metaphor is extremely important for helping us to understand big things and understand little things inside. And it's good for your logical side of your brain and your creative side, and should always be a part of stories. Okay, and we can teach our students all about this stuff without using psychological terminology, just by giving them experiences, and then they will learn it. I think we can teach them about their own minds without using psychological terminology, or without trying to sound like nerdy, strange teachers who shouldn't be in the classroom. We can show them everything through experience, colour and fun. A clown at a birthday party could probably teach all of these things without saying anything. Okay? So patterns are important as well. So patterns could be how something rhymes in a poem, how a story is organised, how we organise our courses, linking old with new again. How we show our students how they can understand small details but also link their small details to a bigger picture, and we can teach our students how to make their own mind maps. Mind maps is a subject for another class because there's a lot involved, but for us today it shows us the big picture and puts some ideas there for us. Okay, now I'm going to the chat box. Okay, let's see, I'm just pausing to look a little bit in the chat box before I go on. Alright, I'll go quickly, actually there's much more here than I realised. So, a quick recap, social and emotional learning. We can tap into the depths of our students' emotional experiences with the help of images and dialogue, comics, graphic novels, infographics, posters and video. Do any of you use comics? Okay, do you use real comics, you know, paper comics, or do we use comic making technology? Anyway, okay. I've used both. Like I used some comic making sites with some local students, and then they went home and started making their own comics by hand, without me asking them to do it, and they were really excited, and they showed me the way they're able to draw. Like, a lot of children think they can't draw, and suddenly these children were drawing fantastic pictures on their own and drawing their own comics. So I definitely think that the physical ability to draw and to write and make your own comics is very important and should not be taken over by technology. But I use technology also to write comics as content and share comics in my lessons, and also to help students free their minds and to play with the potential that is there on the internet without resources. But we need both of them. Now, our topic is vocabulary, so I won't talk about all of the benefits of comics. Comics are my favourite, though, for everything. And of course, we can include music with comics too. That's why I like multimedia. Some comic sites let you have voiceovers and music and amazing things. So for vocabulary, the students you can give them words from a word list, those horrible word lists from the course books. You can give them words from the word lists on the fancy, colourful word cloud, and then they will create dialogues using the word lists, and they can be very, very funny dialogues. I love reading what students create. It's absolutely amazing. Well, I will give you a big list of comic sites at the end. I'm going to have to put all of the links on the PowerPoint, but my favourites are Comic Life. I like Comic Life because you have to pay for a license, but it's really cheap, about 20 euros. But I like it because you can create anything you want and you keep all the copyright. So, for example, there are other fantastic sites like Pixton, Bitstrips. I will give you a bigger list later, but some of those websites like Pixton, they want to keep the copyright on the comics, so you can't use them. You can use them maybe, but you can't make them your own content. And if I want to start creating graphic novels and comics as content, like ebooks, and I need Comic Life for that because everything I make will be mine and my copyright. Okay. Have I missed any questions? Okay. Now, I'm showing you this because it's leading into something else, but you all know about left and right brain, and I'm not going to talk about it now. But I've copied this from my book I showed you before, 2 books, Mindsight and Whole Brain Kids. I've scanned some of these pages. I will probably remove them after the class and draw my own pictures just for copyright reasons. But now we're in a private class, so I think we're all right. I want to show you something extra that I have learned, okay? We talk about our left and right brains, our logic and our creativity, but to reach our children, there is more. And I bought this book for my own children, and then I got teaching ideas from it. Just our left and right brain, it's also the upstairs and downstairs brain, okay? So, in this book, the writer explains that our downstairs brain is our primordial brain, where we have our feelings that bubble up and burst out, and that can happen in class or at home. Students might have tantrums or lose their tempers or be overcome with feelings that you can't understand as a teacher. Okay? Anyway, I won't read it all now. You can read it after the class. The idea is that we can tailor our teaching to help students use their logic to guide their feelings and not have out of control feelings destroying their thinking skills. Okay? So I've learned a lot about this. It's about how you can talk to your children or your students, and I think it's the same for adults, by the way, and I have an adult version of the book called Mindsight. This is, I think, about communication skills in the classroom, and communication skills are tied up with storytelling, which is why I've put this here. First of all, we can teach students how to control their feelings by telling them stories, okay? And by asking them to tell us stories. So, now this is about children at home, what happens to their memories. If our children have many, many experiences and we don't talk to them about their experiences, they forget. It goes into their implicit memory or their subconscious mind, and they have no memory of the event. And if difficult things happen to them, they might have reactions like tantrums that we cannot understand. But when we talk to them about their experiences, they put the pieces of the puzzle together and they clarify their feelings and their memories, and their minds are integrated and they remember everything. So I think that we can do this in teaching. We can reach out to our students socially and emotionally and help them to integrate their minds, but also if we start the class, which many teachers do, if we start the class by asking them about specific things and personal stories for the first 10 minutes, we are helping our students to integrate their minds and their feelings and prepare their memories for the lesson ahead. So if you want to talk about the weather, you can ask all the students about their feelings or experiences about today's weather, last week or last summer, and then all the language is fresh in their minds to give to us, not for us to give to them. And it leads into any kind of multimedia fun lesson that you want to have. Okay? And so, as well as that, it helps us to deal with bullying in the classroom, maybe some extreme issues with social and emotional problems that students may have. When we respect our students enough to sit down and let them tell us their stories, their reactions will improve a lot, and of course they're going to improve their vocabulary by speaking. Somebody wrote in the pre-class assignments that it's very hard to get beginners to tell stories, but if you see my PowerPoint as an example, I'll go back to another page. We can put lots of pictures on the page and let them do all the work. Okay, well here's some pictures. They can use the words they know, even if they only know 5 words. They can say something with those 5 words. Okay? Even if they can't get their grammar right or even make a full sentence, they can still speak to us with their words or with the drawing. Okay? Now, in the past, I conducted a lot of poetry classes on With IQ online with students from all over the world, and there are some very simple poetry games that you can play, and I did this before I met Jason on Facebook, and then when I saw Jason rapping and rhyming, I felt very close to what he was doing, and we collaborated together a couple of times, mixing poetry with rap. So I'd like to do that now for the end of the class. I'm going to share with you a simple kind of poem. Does anyone know what kind of poem this is? Jason is usually my star in the class. Okay. This is called an acrostic poem. Okay, I used to do acrostic poetry with comics online. I used to create comics, and we used to make up poems from comics and from song lyrics also. Okay, now the first line starts with the first letter, so I started this. Sharing feelings, dreams, ideas. Okay? Now, I can type here on the PowerPoint, so I want each person, I want everybody to type something for each letter, and I'll try to write it up here, or if it's too fast, we'll just use the chat wrap. And then Jason might wrap the poem for us. Okay? If we take it a little bit slowly, I can put it up on the PowerPoint. It'll be easier to read. Okay. So, treasure. Okay, have you finished about treasure? Okay, treasure, talking enthusiastically together. Okay. Now I'm going to write the first thing I see because I'm not a very fast typer. Oh. Okay. Overwhelming. Oh, great. Okay. Overwhelming. Open expression. Oh, I forgot to mention that the topic is storytelling. So remember that our poem will be about storytelling as a subject. So, or, okay, realm. Now that's a tough one to continue. Oh, okay, I know, plural. Realms of resourceful. Realms of resourceful. Okay. Resourceful relaxation. Okay, like Jason says, relax, repeat, and remember. Okay. And okay, why? Why? Yearning. Yeah. Great one. Yearning. Okay, it's a little bit unsteady. Okay. Yearning. Oh, yearning. Yielding. Okay, what else? Oh, okay, yearning, yielding, youth. Year by year, I'll say, because someone wrote year. Yeah, maybe we want our students to yearn for knowledge and yearn for fun. Okay, telling. Morties. Okay, have patience with me as I check the chat box. I missed what Tom said. Okay, I'm going to just go with the flow of the chat to do it fast. T, again.
Reflecting.
Oh,
he said reflecting. You got to put that in there. So
okay.
It's such a good one.
Realms of resourceful, relaxation, reflecting. Let's see. Reflecting. Okay.
Ooh, so much good stuff. We'll have to copy the chat box.
Oh, yeah, I can take a picture.
And make something afterwards, too.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, what about T then?
Yeah, we can do both.
T. I can't wait for it to happen in a minute. Okay. Oh, it's a great word. Okay, yearning, yielding, youthful yuppies. Okay, I'm going to add something in here. It's going to be nice. Youthful yuppies. Oh, it would be nice if it worked. Sorry, I'm going to make it a bit bigger. Or else I'll fix it after the class because I really like that. I like those kinds of funny words. Okay. I'm going to write youthful yuppies here and fix it later. So who wrote yuppies? Sometimes it's nice when we put colloquialisms or slang mixed into the finer words. Okay. Now, so again, I'm trying to finish the next word. T. Okay, I'm going to have to scroll back. I'm missing. Oh, trigger the minds. Okay. Okay. Tripping talented. Okay, tripping talented tournaments trigger the mind.
I like that one.
Okay. This reminds me of Mouse class last night. I think this is wonderful because it really is about storytelling. It's about what's happening inside our heads, the brainstorming parties. Okay, so what we're doing now is a brainstorming party. Exploring, experimenting, okay. Now, if I don't get all the words, it's just because I have to do it quickly. We can write more anyway on Facebook or somewhere else. Exploring, experimenting, evoking what? Evoking? Oh, goodbye, Rebecca. Thank you for all the support. Yeah, I don't keep you too long, so yeah, I got tripping Fatima, it's brilliant. Okay, let's see, exploring, experiment, evoking, escapades. L. L. Okay. Okay. Love, evolving. Evolving. Literature. Okay. Okay. Now, remember our students of different ages and abilities would write lots of different poems. I've done this with all kinds of students, and they all write lots of different kinds of things. Oh, leaps of language. Yes. Okay. Leaps of language. I could say leaps of language not lagging behind, because it's all moving forward quickly. Intimate. Good. Intimate. Intriguing. Again, I'm sorry if I'm missing any words. I'm looking really fast at the chat box and writing everything I see. Intimate, intriguing, involving, you know, all of these words, all of these words describe storytelling. So it's great. Intuitive initiative. Okay. Intuitive. Initiative. Sorry. Initiative. Okay. Yes, natural. Natural. Oh, okay. I like nutshell as well. Okay, natural, naive. Okay, natural, naive nature in a nutshell. Sorry about I hit the capitals there. Okay, when we brainstorm, it gets a bit messy. That's messy. Typing is a sign that our brains are flying. Okay, so if you're too neat is not good for the flowing of your inspiration. Okay, G. Genuine. Oh, very nice. Genuine. Grasping. Giggling. It goes, okay. Okay, that's it. Now, it's going to sound good when Jason tries to interrupt this. Are you ready, Jason? It's too messy here. Can you read it? Okay, what do you want?
Let's hope so.
Right. Oh, really?
You want it a cappella or with a beat? It's a poem, so maybe just acapellas are. All right.
Yeah.
You want to beat with? Do you want music with it or not? Let's let them decide. Music or not? Who wants music? Music? Okay, looks like.
Well, it's not.
Looks like music wins out here. All right, let me find something here. Yeah. Now this is going to be a bona fide freestyle. You know what that means? 1 second. I should have been thinking about the music, shouldn't I? Instead of wasting our time here. All right, let's see. Let's see. Can you hear that? No. Louder? Is that too loud or too soft? It's perfect? It's perfect? Poetry as collaborative game. Here we go. I see so many names. People who contributed. And now we're gonna put it to a wrap. I love how I see all those claps. No delay, let's go. I hope I can flow, sharing feelings, dreams and ideas, treasure, talking enthusiastically together. Overwhelming open expression, realms of resourceful relaxation. We're yearning and yielding the youth. Year by year we hope to give them the truth. Reflecting, trippy talented, tournaments trigger the minds. Exploring, experimenting, evoking escapades. Yeah, that's how we do it when we create, and we've made things together like this collaboration. Let's continue on with the ES celebration. Oh, where's my beat? Bring it back, DJ. Rewind that, rewind that. Here we go. New beat, new beat, new beat. All right, check it out. As we continue on with L. Yeah, love. Evolving, likable literature with the leaps of language not lagging behind. We gotta do it and teach them to be kind and nice and stimulate the neurons in their brains. In the US, we do it again, we do it again. Gain in the UK. Check it, don't stop. I'm following, I'm going with the intimate, intriguing, involving, intuitive initiative. The intimate, intriguing, involving, intuitive initiative. That's natural, naive in nature in a nutshell. Yeah, well, I'll keep going on with the genuine, grasping, jiggling, genius goals. That's all we have. That's all we have time for, my friends. So we got to end. This is the termination of the class, but never terminating the celebrating. Yeah, thank you so much for all those nice icons and claps and agreements, and I'm glad to be with you here every day at ELT Technique. Let's cheer. Yeah, we got 2 more days to go. We got Thursday and Friday. 2 more classes, also known as festival shows. All right, let me get that music off, although I don't want to turn it off. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. Thank you. Let me just say, yeah, well, thank you. I mentioned in the chat, I don't know if people saw it, but the first time I ever was not only in WizIQ, but in a virtual classroom, any online experience. I had to be not dragged into it, but just in my mind, I was thinking, I don't want to do this. But Sylvia invited me in, and we did this incredibly fun. That was the not Valentine's Day. It was the Christmas. No, it was the Valentine's Day. Oh, right. It was the winter one. Right. It was the holiday song. Anyway, I just want to say that Sylvia has been my mentor and inspiration from the beginning in terms of any kind of online, anything with teaching, so it's only fitting that we continue on and build together this way. Right, Sylvia? Great. It's all about access. It's how far you reach. How far you reach when you teach. It's how far you reach when you teach. That's my favorite thing to say. Wonderful. That's it. That's it. And one last thing, just so you know, some people still asking the questions. I wrote down the questions that I could watch, that I could write down. So what we'll do is we'll stop here and we'll just, if it's okay, continue after. Actually, we have a 1 minute. Well, no, let's stop here. I think ending with the poem is probably the best. Was that? Don't worry. Well, I send it out to the 2,400 plus. Everybody gets that one in a message. Don't worry. Yeah, I'll put it in the course feed and everything else. And on the class page. Thanks, everybody. Let's keep growing, keep continuing on. Goodbye, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful day or evening, whichever pertains to you. And we will see you in Wiz IQ and in the Facebook groups. Thank you so much, Sylvia. Wonderful. Peace and much respect, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.